Hello everybody, welcome to our webinar today, Bedbugs, Reality and Myths of Social Service or Agencies. I'm Jason from Batchelor Pest Management at Batchelor Bedbug Services. I'm joined today by a guest speaker, Ursula Flores. Ursula, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a community living coordinator for a social service agency here in southeastern Wisconsin, and we provide housing to mentally ill individuals. And the housing comes in the forms of group homes, support apartments, community living apartments, and we service around 200 individuals. We work with case managers, other social service agencies, providers, other property managers, and just pretty much everybody with regards to bedbug services and how to rectify the problem.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Ursula and I have been learning some of these things about bedbugs the hard way, so we're going to try to share some of the stuff we've learned over the last year. The reality for social service agencies is that bedbugs are definitely on the rise. I've noticed a pretty good increase in calls from various social service agencies in our area over the last 6 months. One of the things I want to stress today is the fact that social service agencies rely on each other so much to care for individuals is one of the reasons that makes them vulnerable to the spread of bedbugs. It's something that I refer to as the vicious circle, and I'm going to try to explain it a little bit here. There's various high-risk locations that social services utilize. Most of these areas listed on the page are going to be an introduction of bedbugs. Usually these areas are introduced from various people who are using the day program or a hospital because they've got an infestation at their house. Something like a learning center that various people use on a daily basis would be susceptible to a bedbug infestation at that person's home. So all of these areas really are going to have bedbugs introduced into them. To fight that or combat the introduction of bedbugs, we really need to go back to the source or the main infestation of bedbugs, which is often an apartment or somebody's personal home. So a secondary infestation, if an introduction turns into an infestation, it would be a secondary infestation in one of these day programs or learning centers. The primary infestation needs to be addressed. Okay, that's what I mean about when I say the vicious circle. If the primary infestation isn't addressed and the person continues to use these facilities, they'll just reintroduce bedbugs into those facilities. So, first, I want to ask you a couple different questions, but the first one is, how have the rise of bedbugs changed the way you guys at social service agencies do business?
Well, it forced us to put a plan in action and to have a plan in place. We have increased our communications with other providers, social service agencies, etc., and increased care with individuals, especially to reduce our symptoms with our clients. And yes, the symptoms could be exacerbated, anything from visual hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, all of these different things. So it's forced us to work a little bit harder and also to increase our communication with each other and our pest management company.
So when you talk about dealing with the bedbug issue, I know there's a lot of other things going on as far as how to control them, but one of the biggest things that I try to explain to people is how to control the fear. People don't seem to really understand how bedbugs work. What kinds of things have you done to address that issue?
Well, we talked about a little bit the bedbug placement plan, kind of going ahead and getting those actions in place, reminding our other staff members to refer to informational sheets, educate themselves to increase awareness, and also spreading the word to our different colleagues, social service agencies, and even family members.
So, even though you try to educate everybody and talk about bedbugs as much as possible, there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. There's a lot of people who really don't understand bedbugs. So, when you and I were talking about this presentation, you wanted to address a couple myths about bedbugs that you've heard.
Yes, and some of these are a little bit shocking, some are not so much. One of them we'll talk about is removing mattress and bed sheets and couches. That does the trick, right, Jason?
Well, that actually is one of the worst things that you can possibly do. And the reason is because improper handling of a heavily infested or even a mildly infested item could lead to the spread of bedbugs in a building. Think about two people trying to move a mattress down a hallway. I know when I've moved things like that, they've been bumped and banged on the walls. if that mattress had a lot of bed bugs on it, they certainly could be dropped and reintroduced into another unit or different areas of that building. It's really important that when we do decide to throw things out, we wrap them very heavily with cellophane or something along those lines. Bed bugs are found in a number of different places. It's not just beds or furniture. We find them all over baseboards, side table, many locations throughout the room.
So another myth that I hear is that because bed bugs do not transmit any diseases, they're harmless, right?
That is absolutely not true. Bed bugs are actually relatively harmful in some different ways. Though it is true that they do not transmit diseases through their bites, they're definitely not harmless. People have reactions to bed bug bites that vary from no reaction at all to minor itchy red welts to even anaphylactic shock. But the most important thing that doesn't really get addressed about the impacts on people is the psychological impact that bed bugs have.
Now, I mentioned earlier just a little bit on how it can increase our clients' symptoms. So we think about our clients that have these mental health issues and how they may potentially have schizophrenia or may have some visual hallucinations. This could be an ongoing thing. Not only would it exacerbate their symptoms, but it will make them very paranoid about entering into different areas, particularly their own homes. When we talk about bed bug bites, we always talk about, oh, they're just small little dots. You can usually not feel them. Although there is that percentage of individuals that do not feel the bed bug bites, there are those that have allergic reactions. And so anything from taking steroids or potentially being admitted to the ER, going into anaphylactic shock, all of those things are potential.
And I've actually heard of post-traumatic stress disorder being associated with bed bug infestations and people worrying about bed bugs, worrying about getting bed bugs again, even after the bed bug problem has been dealt with.
Very true. It could stop people from vacationing, visiting family members, could sever ties, relationships, all of those different things. We've seen it happen.
Okay.
So another myth, treatments are not necessary and they'll die on their own.
Yeah, that is completely untrue. Bed bugs are prolific breeders. I mean, a couple of pregnant females can turn into a population of over 1,000 in as soon as 2-3 months. So populations, they grow very rapidly. Bed bugs need to be addressed by a professional, especially if they are in a heavily infested state already. So they definitely can die on their own naturally, but professional help is definitely recommended to control bed bugs.
So this one is my favorite, and I've heard this. During heat treatments, units are heated to 400 degrees.
And that one is definitely not true. 400 degrees is even too hot for cookies. The target temperature in the pest control industry for thermal remediation is 120 degrees. 120 degrees is basically instantly lethal to bed bugs, and at the same time it is not harmful to things like CDs, electronics, TVs, or various things in a unit. So that's why we use this 120 degrees temperature threshold, is because studies have been shown that bed bugs are instantly dying at those temperatures.
So when we're dealing with the impact and how it hits social service agencies in particular, and potentially even just your average Joe property owner, community budgets can go up to $7,000. I promise you this is not a number that I'm making up. This would, of course, include anything from and including heat treatments, chemical treatments thereafter, and of course, if we have some clients that are residing in the units, we'll want to do that too as a preventative measure. Going ahead and pulling up carpet, linoleum. We also think about temporary housing, providing respite to individuals. In our case, it would be our clients, but then you think about your own individual tenants, that's another aspect. The staff costs we want to address and those potential issues.
So are you telling me that $7,000 is what you spent in a month?
No, just with one client, with one infestation in one unit.
One unit, $7,000. That's an incredible cost, especially if you take in consideration that some agencies have hundreds of locations. That's not necessarily the normal situation, right?
No, not necessarily. That would have to be a severe infestation, but of course with the break in communication and not being able to have that cycle connected, there is a potential that it can be higher. It could be more. There is a potential for replacing furnishings, all of those different avenues.
So we were talking a little bit about the emotional stress and the emotional discomfort that dealing with bed bugs causes people. some of the interactions that people have, such as sleepovers, vacationing, and staff taking bed bugs home, are things that need to be addressed in the educational aspect of it. So we're going to go over a couple more things that you try to increase awareness with your staff and your tenants.
Because in some of our units, there's not a staff there on site 24/7. So it's vital that we listen to our clients, listen to our tenants. Although there is the percentage of individuals who do not feel the bed bug bites or have any kind of allergic reaction, still they could be seeing them. They could be witnessing them while changing their sheets, or even notice that there is some kind of a bite mark, just no reaction has been acknowledged. We also want to talk about communicating and educating our stakeholders. So when we talk about stakeholders, that includes our case managers who are transporting our clients, facilitating services, our colleagues, different community learning centers, for example, our families, and care providers. These things are everywhere, and so we have to increase the education throughout our communities. Training staff. Training staff is important for so many reasons. One of the venues that you can go ahead and use are informational handouts, which are very easy to pull either from Bassner or another pest management website. Being able to protect yourselves, families, and others is very important. We want to encourage our families and colleagues to pass information along to partners, clients, co-workers, leave them out for anyone to go ahead and pick up. We want to increase the communication and be aware of our surroundings. Being able to identify bed bugs as an evidence of infestation is very important. So being able to show those pictures, not have a light stomach about it, and be able to be open during a discussion.
So I'm going to try to give you some ideas of what you can educate your staff with. It doesn't have to be a very complex process. You can even use this webinar that we're producing today to educate the staff. One thing I hear a lot is that bed bugs look like an apple seed. That's true in some sense, but bed bugs come in various different sizes, shapes, even colors. If you look at this picture that I have here, on the left side you'll see some bed bug eggs, which are generally white. In the second column to the right you'll see a first stage end star. Where my pointer is right now is at the bottom. That first stage end star bed bug has fed recently, so it looks red, but the one above it has not fed yet, so it's actually almost see-through. Now each of these stages, it requires a molt between a stage to grow from stage to stage. It's what we refer to as a cast skin. I'm going to discuss that a little bit further coming on. But remember, the most important thing about this slide is that they can be different sizes, different shapes, and even different colors. People misidentify bed bugs because they think they only look like one specific bug. They have different sizes. So to reiterate that fact, I've got a slide on the top left that shows two bed bugs. The two larger bed bugs on top, the one on the left has recently fed. The one on the right has a traditional apple seed shape and even color. Now if you look at the one to the right and below of that, that one hasn't fed in a while, so it's almost see-through. Keep that in mind, different size, shapes, and colors. The picture in the middle is a bed bug that's recently fed or actually feeding, so it is fatter and larger. The picture on the top right is a picture of an adult bed bug with nymphs of various different sizes and different growth stages. You can also see some eggs in there and some black fecal staining. The picture on the bottom left is blown up. It is a picture of bed bug eggs. They look similar to a 1/4-inch sized piece of rice. So, you know, you can see them. For some reason, there's a myth out there that you can't see bed bugs, they're invisible. That's not true. You can see all stages of bed bugs, including the egg stage. The picture on the bottom right is a mattress, typical mattress, and it's bed bug fecal staining. This will be one of your first clues that you're going to want to look for. Fecal staining can be anywhere that bed bugs are. They can be in corners, they can be on beds, they can be on furniture, they can be on clothing. What it looks like is if you took a white t-shirt and a black felt tip marker and went dot, dot, dot all over the t-shirt, those dots almost spread out in a tie-dye fashion. Here are some insects that I've heard confused with bed bugs. A sossid, a flea, a carpet beetle, a body lice or body louse, and a tick. It's important to keep this in mind because bed bugs make people panic, And sometimes you can identify a bed bug as a different insect and realize that you don't need pest control, you don't need to panic. One insect that is commonly mistaken as a bed bug is a tick, and that's the picture on the bottom middle. It's pretty easy to tell a tick from a bed bug because a tick is an arachnid. It has 8 legs. So there should be no confusion in that. The picture on the top left, the next slide here, is fecal staining. That's your typical box spring underneath a bed or any wood furniture. You see the dot, dot, dot all over. And there's really no bed bugs in there, but that's definitely signs of bed bugs. Now the picture in the middle is also fecal staining, and it looks like it got wet. When you get bed bug fecal staining wet, it almost smears. And a lot of times bed bugs fecal staining can be confused with German cockroach fecal matter. The difference is, and obviously wearing a glove, if you feel German cockroach feces, it's gritty and sandy. So that's the difference. Bed bug fecal staining is smooth. The picture on the top right is a blown up picture of a ribbon on a bed. You can see fecal staining, you can see a cast skin, and you can also see live bed bugs on there. It's kind of hard to see, but they're there. That would be a typical, those 3 pictures right there are typical things that you're going to want to look for when you're doing an inspection or just trying to observe if bed bugs are in an area. The bottom left picture is a cast skin. That's what I was talking about before. It's similar to a snake skin that you might have found when you were a kid. They're very light. They're the same size as the different bed bug sizes, and you can just blow them away. They're just a little piece of cast skin. The picture next to it shows a live bed bug, a fecal stain, and a cast skin. So the dead bed bugs look similar to a bed bug, but they look a little bit different. So these are all signs that you're going to want to be aware of when you're doing inspections, definitely. So the big thing is these signs. When you're developing your action plan and you're talking to your staff, this is what they're going to need to look for.
And as Jason mentioned, a reality for us members of social service agencies is to have an action plan in place. Have something, have someone that is going to go ahead and take these first 3 actions. Notify a contact person. In many cases it'll be myself or my supervisor. Quarantine the room or items, and schedule an inspection with pest management company. When we talk about quarantining the room or the items, it's important that you work with your pest management team to identify if there are just items or an entire room that needs to be treated. If it's just a simple item, we want to go ahead and have it removed from the facility. We utilize a moving wrap it up to a T, take it outside, destroy it so that we're not doing a disservice to the community, and go ahead and hopefully have an eradication of the bed bugs all in one time.
So when you're destroying that stuff and wrapping it, the reason you're doing that is so nobody else takes it.
So no one else takes it, and so we can prevent a cost.
One of the biggest threats of bed bugs, people, in the whole country is people grabbing things out of the garbage that already has bed bugs. Very important issue, so keep that in mind. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed in your action plan.
Prevent dumpster diving. Destroy any items that are left at your dumpster, whether it's a mattress, a chair, whatever it is. I've destroyed a vacuum because the vacuum was the only thing positive for bed bugs. Carry a knife and use it well to destroy those mattresses and prevent spreading.
I've even seen people use spray paint.
Make sure that you have your pest management contract in place. This allows you to act quickly instead of shopping around while the infestation is growing. We get a good response time, less than 24 hours at times, same day, same time, same hour. It's amazing what our pest management company has been able to do for us. So have your plan in place and have that pest management contract in place.
And when we talk about this, this is all a team approach, and one of our next slides is that pest management company is going to be a real important part of this team. They're going to need to be there to educate your staff or educate you on how to deal with bed bugs, and really to be your force in the whole education of bed bugs, what's new in the marketplace, what's coming up. So really being proactive. A bed bug company or a company that services bed bugs needs to be proactive on many different levels, and that includes being up on current knowledge, new things coming down the pipe, different types of treatment options that are being developed, different research. Bed bugs are ever changing. There's a lot of different information. There's a lot of things that we've learned over time. But the basic thing is to be proactive. You really have to try to prevent these issues. You need to find those infestations before they start, before they get severe, before they turn into introductions in different parts of your facility or different parts of your community. Those introductions can be prevented just by finding these heavy infestations. So keep that in mind when you're writing your action plan. I have on our website a specific bedbug action plan worksheet. So when you're going through with your committee trying to develop this action plan, it's a step-by-step form that should help you make some of these decisions. You know, with this webinar or other webinars that we have, you can use them as educational tools or reference materials during the creation of your action plan. We have several webinars already posted on our website. This webinar that we're doing today will be posted on our website probably in a week or less, I'm not exactly sure. Also, another fabulous resource that I really would love you to take a look at or to think about when you're developing this action plan is the National Pest Management Association's website. The National Pest Management Association has put a large effort into this whole bedbug issue over the last 5 years. They have a wonderful website with lots of very good resources. They even have some resources on there that are translated into multiple different languages. I think last time I looked there was 12 different languages that this information could be translated from. And you know, that is definitely a challenge to have information that people can understand. So be proactive. Being reactive to bedbug problems there's nothing worse than being in a panic situation for the first time, not having a plan in place, and having to deal with bedbugs. So, you know, the team approach is important. Get started with it, because I know everybody has to start somewhere, and you know, if you're proactive about it, you don't have to start in the hard spot.
When you start with your team approach, you want to build your partnerships. And so in this circle, it's yourself, your staff, your tenants, clients, your solution-based pest management company who's going to go ahead and take care of that matter for you. That is your team. We have to go ahead and notify and educate our other colleagues, our family members, any service providers to prevent transfers, increase our communication, ask when we're doing inspections, check your units and check them frequently. Pull up the sheet, take a look around the baseboards, take a look around the edges. It's very easy to go ahead and identify them as long as you know what you're looking for. And your team altogether can go ahead and reduce the number of infestations.
So a team approach for you, somebody in your situation, in the beginning we talked about social service agencies relying on each other to care for individuals.
Yes.
So your team would be more than just the people that might work for your staff or with your own customers. You probably have relationships with other organizations. Other organizations really need to talk to each other to discuss what they're doing about bed bugs, because if you're all using the same resources and you're all each other's resources, if you're not on the same page about bed bugs, that vicious circle can come back to you. As hard as you try and as much as you put together your action plan, if everybody's not on the same page on your team, there's going to be a potential for reintroduction. Have you had any situations like that in your life or in your professional life?
Definitely. We've had a number of instances, and they're all pretty similar, to where so-and-so is going to visit another client and they've brought bed bugs back to their own individual unit. But then they visit a day program on a regular basis or a community living center. And we've got to have that location inspected. The dog has come to our office. We've made sure that we've done all of those different precautionary things to make sure that infestations do not take place. But again, it's building the partnerships, increasing our communication, making sure that we send whatever wealth of knowledge that we have to other agencies, other property managers, case managers, even to our families and friends. We're all service providers or providers of some sort, so we have to keep our networks and our avenues open to pass out information.
One thing that I've been trying to do, I've been working with bed bugs in the community for going on 7 years now, and I really like to get out and do presentations and try to give people some real-world knowledge of how bed bugs work. We are putting together a bed bug seminar, which is going to be May 10th. If you guys need more information, that will be on our website. There is no charge for that, so we really encourage everybody to come. It's not only a workshop for everybody to hear about pest management's approach and updating the newest research on bed bugs for you. But it's a networking situation for you to talk to people in similar situations as yourself. There's a lot of different approaches to bed bugs. Not everyone is right, but the more we work together and the more we educate each other, that's probably the way that we're going to end up solving that problem. So keep that in mind, and take a look at our website if you have any questions. And Ursula, I really appreciate you coming. Do you have any closing statements or anything you'd like to add?
Thank you for having me, and the more that we increase our communication, of course, that would be wonderful.
We do have a couple questions from the audience here. The first one is, what can social service agency employees do to help prevent transferring bed bugs to their own home, their vehicle, or another client's home? I get that question a lot. How can I protect myself when I'm in a home that is infested with bed bugs? The answer is a little bit complex, and I don't have a great answer. It really is educating yourself on what to look for. Some of the basic things you can do is not sitting down, not putting your purse down, and just really using the corner of your eye to know what to look for with bed bug infestations. Ursula, do you have anything to add to that?
One of the things that I do is I carry an extra set of clothes inside of my car and some change. Utilize your laundromat. If you know you've been inside of a home that has bed bugs and the infestation is bad and there's a potential that they could be on your person, take some quarters, take yourself, and go ahead and get in the laundromat and drop off those items in the dryer and let it sit for, I let them sit for about a half hour. That usually makes me feel a little bit more calm about the matter.
Yeah, high heat is definitely the thing you want to use. We used to talk about washing and drying, but I found that really to kill bugs instantly, heat is better. You know, that's the easiest, the quickest way to do it without worrying about you know, getting bed bugs somewhere else. The water, potentially, they might not die, they might live through it. Heat is going to kill them right away. We have another question here that wants to know how often I, as a pest management company, find bed bugs in different facilities. It varies greatly. The sad fact is that when I get calls for bed bugs, it's usually multi-unit housing, and the person who is making the original complaint is generally not the main source of the issue. Generally, the original complaint comes from somebody who is being experienced an introduction from an infestation. So when I do pest management at that building, my minimum recommendation is the units left, right, above, below, and across the hall are inspected. Now your staff can inspect them, the pest management company can inspect them, but they need to be inspected. My ultimate recommendation is that entire building is inspected. Anything else to add to that?
No, not besides, if you visit your units on a regular basis, you will go ahead and notice not only a reduction or a complete elimination of bed bugs. Increasing awareness is also key. You have to remember to do those things. Pass on the communication. If someone already has it, say, hey, no problem. Go ahead and pass it on to your colleagues. Encourage that. That's the only way we're going to rid ourselves of this issue.
So those inspections can be done by anybody. It doesn't have to be a pest management company. With the tools that we've given you today, you will be able to do these inspections on your own, and you will be successful at controlling bed bugs. At least you'll be successful at noticing these heavy infestations and controlling introductions into your facilities. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.